Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. We got an email this week at planttalkradio.com from Mark, and he says, first he says, good morning, gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
I like that.
My. I do too.
We got a promotion there. I have a handful of perennials that I planted last year that were purchased from a nursery. They're coming into bloom this year, but I feel like their blooms are kind of puny compared to last year. They certainly seem smaller and less vibrant and maybe shorter lasting, especially these first blooms popping up on my red hot poker, which started to bloom a few days ago. What kinds of things should I be doing leading up to spring and then maybe throughout the summer to get the most out of my perennial blooms?
Well, it's kind of hard to answer because I don't know exactly what plants, and I don't know that is particularly important. I think it's a matter, when he speaks specifically of the red hot poker, it is not the thriftiest of plants under what I'm going to call normal circumstances. I would say that maybe he needs to fertilize the plant now. Next year in mid-March would be better. And it wouldn't hurt because the plant will be recreating its bulbous root area during the course of this summer. Wouldn't be a bad idea to fertilize. Now, he has water solubles that he can use and give them a pick-me-up, and then that would be them, all of them, right quick. But there's also the matter then of considering something like Osmocote. Osmocote is a product that is slow release fertilizer. You can buy it in various what I'll call increments of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and 120 days. It's the way it's compounded. The size of the little prill that the fertilizer is in has to do with those days of effect. And I'm going to say that on perennials, I would go with, and I would even do it yet at this point, I would go with the 90 or 120 day types. They break down, well, as it rains, as you water, the prill picks up water and pushes fertilizer out. Now, that's certainly more complicated than that, but that's the essence of it. And I think he would have his plants benefit from perhaps one application of water soluble just to give them a quick pick-me-up and then put some Osmocote down because it's going to take it a while to break down. I don't think there's any chance of getting any burn going when things are used at the right levels or right amounts, and I think that will make a considerable difference. Plants that he bought last year probably were fertilized somewhat near the time he bought them. So that would carry over last year. He may not have fertilized during the course of last year, which would have not allowed them perhaps to really regain well, let's just say some of the energy lost in the flowering process. So let's just wrap up last year, say that if he's comfortable, and I don't think there's any question about it can happen. I've seen it myself in some of the areas that I'm derelict in. I think they just need a good shot of fertilizer, not excessive by any means, just enough to get back into good shape. We have the whole rest of this summer for the plants that have bloomed or will yet bloom to use the fertilizer, build a stronger body, stronger root system, and I think that'll take care of it. And the red hot poker, I have not ever, I've planted them 3 times. And each time I have had the decline the following years. I don't think mine were in quite the right soil. Maybe I didn't give them enough sun or a place for sun, etc. I'm not sure. I have enjoyed them in somebody else's garden ever since, but when something fails on me for 3 times, I'm not going back at it again. And it's just maybe my soil. So I would say red hot poker is the only one I suspect that might not recover really nicely from fertilization.
Now, we talk about a fertilizer. I know that, like, for example, like Bonite has like the 10-10-10 or the 5-10-5. Yeah. Is that the kind of just a plant food sort of fertilizer?
Right. The 10-10 is probably excessive in the potassium area, it's probably more than necessary. But at the same time, the nitrogen and for heaven's sakes, my mind just went blank. Anyhow, the 1010 was fine. That the 5-10-5 would be more for a bloom builder with the higher phosphate. Yes, I think those things, there are 1212s. One of the things I think that I would, let's just say, rehash here a little bit. If possible, whatever fertilizer you get, and I think Bonides is a slower release type, or they have it at least, I like to give plants nutrition over a period of time. We're not growing corn and going to harvest it in the fall,
right,
type of thing. We're not pushing beans and wheat and so on. So we're after the long haul. And I think slow release fertilizer, number one, is safer, and then it spreads out the material to a point of use the whole summer.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Hauer and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com